Welcome to Yoga Teacher Journeys, your podcast for all things yoga and mindful living. I'm Claire.
And I'm Bianca, and we're two yoga teachers sharing the insights and wisdom we've picked up along our journey so far.
Whether you're thinking about teacher training or exploring yoga as a way of life, join us weekly for inspiring conversations.
Let's go on this journey together.
Yes.
This is so nice to go back. So week one, I've got a photo of us all sitting in that like sharing circle to start with. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that was the morning, wasn't it, of the first day. We had like an opening circle, and it was so beautiful because it was set up. They put all the flowers on the floor, like all the cushions and all our like workbooks and everything was set up, weren't they? And who was I sat next to? I was sat next to Gabby and Nina. You know, you look back at these photos and it's like,
Yeah.
so crazy. I remember it was a boiling hot morning. I can't remember what time we started on the first day.
I don't know either, to be honest.
I think it was maybe slightly later.
Yeah. I was next to Fadi and Emily. That's so nice. It's so nice to see the picture.
So yeah, it was a beautiful moment, wasn't it, where we were sitting in a circle and we had all of our teachers up at the front, and we kind of had to then do this introduction on this yoga teacher training. And I remember it being quite emotive, like hearing everyone's kind of stories in that moment, that initial like, wow, I'm here talking in front of all of these people about why I'm doing this. And yeah, I remember it being quite a lot. I remember I actually I think I got choked up. I didn't cry in that sharing circle. I didn't cry that day. Maybe I did when I got back. I don't know. There was a lot. But I remember it being quite emotive, but it was really beautiful.
It was, and it was such a nice way to begin, as you said. Getting everyone together, it was so beautiful, and just the beginning of starting to get to know everyone a little bit, understand it. I thought what was so interesting is how diverse the group was. We had people from completely different backgrounds, different ages, countries, all over the world, really, but all come together for sort of one purpose for the following month, and to just deepen our practice and learn more about yoga. I also think what was so interesting was most people said that they were there to learn more about yoga, but they didn't necessarily know if they wanted to teach. Very few of us actually said, I do want to teach. I can't remember. What did you say?
I said I wanted to deepen my practice. And I think in that moment, I was like, oh no, I'm not bothered about teaching. I'm not going to put the pressure on myself. But quite quickly I realized that, oh my God, yes, I need to teach this. Like it just felt so right. But I think I almost didn't want to go into it with that expectation. So I just kind of allowed myself to feel into it. But yeah, it was lovely, hey? But people from all over, it was such a nice mixed group as well, and male and female as well. When you go into these things, it was really nice to have the guys in the group as well and have that mix.
Absolutely. I completely agree. No, it made it such a great dynamic. And then even in the teachers as well, we had quite diverse teachers from France, Germany, and Ireland. So it was great to have them in all ages and different backgrounds and experiences. From philosophy teacher having lived in India and experienced all of that, but then our arts of teaching teacher being so young actually, but so experienced in yoga and what she was teaching, and she was just so good at it. It's just amazing.
I think we were really lucky with the combination of teachers that we had, because they all had such a different energy and such a different take and perspective on life, and it was such a beautiful all-round I guess there was so much wisdom there.
Absolutely.
Right, so much wisdom, and yeah, I'm so grateful for them. Absolutely. And when you look back at those photos, it's like, wow, we had no idea what was to come. Like, wow. And I remember that first day. So the first day we started with a yoga class.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember, so following on, obviously I had that accident in Koh Lanta where I split my foot open. So I remember I wasn't actually meant to be doing any yoga for the first few days. And I'm sure we started with like a vinyasa class with Kat, if I remember. and I was trying to go into a downward facing dog and I still had stitches in my foot. And I just remember it being a bit like, yeah, I shouldn't really. So I was kind of not fully in the yoga class. And I remember on that first day, on my lunch break, I was down the medical center to try and get the stitches taken out. So that's in my photo album, is me in the medical center, like.
Oh, wow.
So wow. Do you remember the exercise that we did with Kat as well in the art of teaching class, where we had to walk around the room and look into each other's eyes? Wow.
Yes, that was quite something, but so good. Looking back, I'd never done that before. So yeah, we had to walk around the room and then she would say stop. And then whoever you were in front of, you needed to look into their eyes. And I think that's such a personal thing. And when we just all didn't really know each other. We also did it with when you stop, focus on one element of them, not necessarily looking into their eyes, but looking at maybe kind of a necklace or a tattoo or something. And again, it made you notice people differently and start to wonder more about who they are. It was really a really special like exercise, and I think we all felt a lot closer afterwards. It was really, really good fun.
That was quite a powerful time, that actually, because at the start you could feel that there was quite a lot of tension in the room, like it was a bit like, oh, some giggling going on, and then eventually by the end of it we were literally just staring into each other's eyes for like 2 minutes. And then I remember another part of it, we had to all stand, was it round in a circle and like massage each other's backs? There was like
Yes,
some physical touch as well that we had to do, and it's all about that kind of intention and that noticing and trying to see people with a really beginner's mind, isn't it? Like, just what can you really notice about this person when you take the time to be in those moments? And it's so precious.
no, absolutely. We didn't even realize it, but it was preparing us to be teachers on so many
Yeah,
levels,
it's that
right?
connection. It's that connection and being able to hold the space and being open yourself. I think that was the start of the heart opening.
Definitely. And
Oh,
feeling the energy of the room, right? Because sometimes you might come into a class you want to teach, and the energy of the people there is not aligned with what you'd planned. So being able to notice that and adapt is a huge skill as a teacher. And I think in a way that's also the beginning of noticing how each individual's energy is on that day.
just slowing down as well. I think, I mean, we were quite lucky that we'd had a bit of time in Thailand to adjust to the slower way of life, but quite often the people coming into our yoga classes have just done like 9 to 5, they're running around, like energy's all over the place. So actually just in that slowing down, you do notice so much more. So I think it was really important for us on that first day, where we were probably all a little bit up in our heads, to really bring the energy down and notice. And it was really intimate.
Mm. Absolutely, no, that's right. And I think so, just back to something you said before, like little did we know what was to come and things. But I remember going back to my room at one of the breaks and saying to a friend, I feel like I'm not going to be the same person in a month's time. And I know we all constantly evolve, but there it really felt like I am not going to be the same person after this. Like, and in a good way, but also a bit scary, because it was like,
Yeah.
what if I become someone that doesn't align with my current friendships? What if my views become so different and my friends from home don't understand me anymore and we don't connect? And that was quite scary.
I hear you. That, and it's so valid. I think when you're going on any sort of personal development journey, that can be a real blocker, actually. And I suppose what we have to then remind ourselves of is that we're becoming more aligned with our truth. And when we do that, actually, any connections that aren't meant for us will naturally crumble away. And the ones that then can come in are going to be more meaningful and have more depth to them, right? So actually, it's that fear of the unknown, yeah, which is a very natural thing. But actually, in that unknown, anything could happen, and that is so beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. And I think if we, it's a perspective, isn't it? So just acknowledging, yeah, there's going to be fears in the first week. I remember feeling what you said there, I can really resonate. Like, I wasn't ready to do yoga teacher training. It took me a little while to actually be like, right, I'm going to book it, because I knew that there was parts of myself that I needed to shed and that I was going to uncover. And I already felt like I was a bit different to everyone at home as it was. So to then go on this really deep dive into all things spirituality and myself and all things like that, and I knew there was gonna be a lot of changes that happened. And my God, in that first week, it was insane, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mm.
no, absolutely. Even just all the philosophy classes. I think it's
Yeah.
especially after philosophy that I was like, whoa, my whole
Mind
perspective.
blown. Mind blown. Yeah,
Mine,
I
no,
think,
I literally said it in class. I was like, my
yeah,
mind is blown
yeah.
the whole
So
time.
crazy. I mean, I think what might be good if we just explain, like, so what was like an average day like? What do you remember for you? Because obviously
Yeah.
you were on campus. So tell me about, like, what time did your alarm go off? Like, tell me.
Okay. So I was on campus, so my alarm went off probably after yours. I would say my alarm went off around 5:30 because we started meditation at 6.
Yes.
So 5 a.m. But sometimes my body clock was all over the place. It went 5 a.m., 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation began at 6 a.m. We did
Mm-hmm.
half an hour of meditation, and then we would have a 2-hour yoga class, usually a hatha class. Then we would have breakfast.
Which
After,
was delicious, by the way.
yeah, it was so
My
good.
God.
Make our own pot.
I need to hear, what was your go-to breakfast?
Ooh, so I would have to have a bit of everything, but I definitely have a bit of a smoothie bowl that I would make. And then I'd also, if they had the eggs, I would also have eggs just to get that protein in because it was very physically demanding.
Yeah.
But it was so fresh, so nice. Loved it. Yeah. And then, yeah, so we'd do breakfast. It wasn't that long, the break. I can't even remember, half an hour. Also, it was
Maybe an
maybe an
hour.
hour, maybe an hour. It
Yeah.
just felt like so quick. And then, oh yeah, then if we have time, I'd maybe go grab a coffee. Yes, or start reading, or just like go back onto I had a little hammock on my front porch. So I would go sit in there and drink my coffee and read my manual. It was so nice. And then we get into the art of teaching. So where we get taught how to teach yoga. So we'd be going through all the asanas and how to adjust people and things like that. We'd have a 15-minute break and then an hour and a half of philosophy. Then lunch. And then there'd be a longer break there. And then end of afternoon, like 4 to 6 p.m., it would either be anatomy and physiology or another yoga class. There's some days we were practicing for like 6 hours a day.
That was a lot, hey. It was a
Yeah,
lot. And I
but
just
it
remember
was,
that first week, yeah. I think they went a little bit easier on us on the first week as well.
it did.
Yeah, so for me, I woke up a little bit earlier because I was off campus and I had like a 10-minute walk down the hill into one yoga. And I remember just making sure that I had to remember my electrolytes. Like
Yes.
electrolytes, a coconut a day and some electrolytes. They were kind of the things that they recommended us to have because it was really, really hot that first week,
It
right?
was the hottest month of the
Mm.
year. So we had
Yeah,
the hottest month, not a drop of rain.
yeah.
Every single day, the shala was outdoors, either it was in the shade.
The fans were okay, but yeah,
The
it was
heat,
really, really hot. And I used, so yeah, I mean, everything that you just said that the day was, I loved how the day was, it was quite structured, wasn't it?
yes.
Absolutely had to go get a coffee on the break. I used to go to Cookies. Their
Really.
coffee was so good, and I really still miss it now. It was a really, really good coffee there, and so reasonable.
Well, yeah, but I guess everything there is reasonable.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah.
But my go-to, so I've definitely got more of a sweet tooth. So I would definitely go for like the coconut yogurt with the granola, with some fruit, and it was delicious. But also then you didn't want to eat too much if you were practicing. So it was trying to manage that as well, wasn't it? But the food, the catering there was just delicious, so good. Art of teaching, the first week, art of teaching, we learned, I'm sure in the first week we went through the sun salutations.
Yes.
So we learned the sequencing for the sun salutations, and then I think we also learned about like teaching cues and different levels of cueing and things like that as we were learning the sun salutations.
But even
Yeah.
the basic thing, right, that you first say the movement, the breath, and then
Direction or whatever it is.
like a cue or like a deepening cue. And that took a while to get used to. And I remember saying that I'd been teaching friends back home, and actually I'd not been doing that. So I was like, how was I even teaching them? Like, I don't know, but they somehow followed what I was saying. But yeah, getting used to that was hard. How do you remember how it felt for you teaching that first sequence?
I mean, so nervous.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. Yeah, really, really nervous. They got us teaching, was it the first week or was it the start of the second week?
It felt pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, we were
this.
teaching, I think, each other. Like it was pretty sharpish, which I think was actually really a good thing.
Yeah.
And I remember that in one of those classes with Kat, it was kind of like, right, so tomorrow you're going to be teaching, and it's like, what?
I think it might have even been the first week.
Yeah, wow,
because I think we did art of teaching, and she was like, right, your homework for tomorrow is that you need to be able to teach sun salutation, a classic or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember going like practicing in the afternoon break, and yeah, it was not easy.
No, not at all. But that was so lovely. Philosophy, I can't remember what we learned where, but it was just philosophy again, I think was one of my favorite lessons. So much so that I'm actually doing another philosophy course now because I love it so much. Yeah, I love philosophy, and I think it really deepens the practice. Like, and yeah, it's so amazing. Like all that ancient wisdom, right? That actually then you can really embody when you actually practice the physical yoga, because we know yoga is not just about the physical, right? There's so much more to it, and that's for another podcast.
Podcast.
So much to talk about. So philosophy, and then the lunch break. Yeah, so the lunches were always delicious as well. And then I would sometimes then go for a walk kind of down the street, and then walk back up to my hotel and maybe call the family. There were some days I was taking a nap.
A lot of people were.
I think I just wanted to sit in the air conditioning and just take a half an hour nap, because I remember, as much as I loved philosophy, because it was so warm, there were so many days, because we were sitting on the floor as well, that you could just feel your eyes. Like, I was so interested by it, but I was just exhausted. So by the time, yeah, it was a lot. And then to come back and do more yoga in the afternoon, like, oh, yeah, well, it was a lot. But I remember, I think, was it the end of the first week, did they give us like a yin class or something? We celebrated with a yin, and I have a photo, actually, I'll post it on my socials, of me at the end of the first week. I look exhausted. Don't you remember like that first day off that we had? Because this is 6 days a week as well that we're doing here.
Yes,
the first day off that we had, I remember I went to the beach. I had like a day with myself. I think I was still working as well, right? So what I do outside of the yoga is I'm a life coach. So yeah, it was just mad. There was days where we were doing 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. and then I'd go back to the room and have 2 clients in the evening. I was so tired, but I was only doing like 2 or 3 days a week with that. But I really wanted to try and maintain that. What I would say though is, if you are working, maybe the last week, give yourself a week off. Like, I tried not to book any clients in on that last week, especially not on the Sunday, because you really, really need that time. So the first Sunday that we had off of that first week, I think I spent mainly with myself. I chilled and did not a lot.
I think a lot of people did
just
that.
Like, I don't want to see anyone. I just need
I think everyone just needed their own space, just some time to chill and recuperate, like the body. We were and as you say, also the heat really took it out of us. I was so fascinated by philosophy, as you said. I'd literally have to stand and walk around the room like half of the class.
Just trying.
We'd been up since 5. It was almost lunchtime.
Yeah.
And we'd done so much already. And I'm like fascinated by every single thing that's being said, but my body is literally falling asleep on me because of the heat and everything. And it was real struggle. Like, we chose, I think, the hardest month to do it.
Oh my God, yeah, it was a lot. I'm just looking through the photos now. So from the first week, there's a lot of we did some sunsets together, and we did the drum circle at Zen Beach.
Yes, Friday night.
I've got a photo of Fadi and I on the beach.
The drum circles were so fun.
Yeah, I've got photos from the drum circle. That's so cool. And the sunset there was really beautiful.
Yes, yes. So the sunsets actually, so I did quite a bit of traveling afterwards. The most beautiful sunsets I saw were on the island, to be honest. That was the sunsets were really, really magical there. So I have some very, very good sunset pictures.
Was there
So no,
anything else you can remember from the first week?
um,
How did you feel?
very excited. Also, that sense of I'm going to be a different person after, still a bit scared and kind of worried about that. I was going to learn so much. I love the way we were being taught and how I come from a very like more traditional, we have more traditional teaching backgrounds. You're sat at a desk and someone's in front of you teaching you. Here, as you mentioned, we're like sitting on the floor. People are like lying down, standing. If you're feeling tired, you can stand up and walk and stretch and listen at the same time. And we're all sat all together in a circle. It's not like that traditional way of teaching. And I really enjoyed that, even when we were just sitting and listening to the philosophy or listening to another part of it or the anatomy. I loved that it taught in that way, and it was a different environment. And it was probably the first time in so many years that I was learning something I was really passionate about. And so that was just so exciting.
I mean, imagine doing a month of something that you're not passionate about. Absolutely. Everyone there wanted to be there. I think was the really nice thing. And just the conversations we were having and the openness, that first week was really special. I do remember being exhausted, but I also just remember being like, this is so right. And what an experience as well. Like, it was such an experience. The first week we didn't have any workshops or anything in the evening, not that I remember. I think that started in week 2.
Yes, that's
We
right.
can talk about that next time.
I know there was a funny thing though. I don't know if it was week 1 or week 2, but I will say it that the meditation at the beginning was quite challenging for certain people, and I think challenging for me as well. For me, more physically, my body was aching a lot. Being sat in that posture in the morning felt quite challenging. And we will talk different meditation techniques, which was really great. But it's so funny because on the Sunday, my body clock had kind of adapted. So I woke up still really early and I went into the shala and I meditated, and I didn't put a timer on or anything. And I exactly meditated for 30 minutes.
Wow, that's
like I just got so used to it. My subconscious, I just opened my eyes when I felt ready, and I looked at the time and I was like, I can't believe it. Like, it was exactly that.
After a week of practice, like I love a meditation now.
Yeah,
I really love the meditation.
you know that feeling where you're like, I need it, I'm craving it, like I really
I
need
love
to.
just sitting, and you can meet yourself there every day.
Yeah,
My mentor calls it the meeting point.
I love that. Yes,
it's really nice.
So much more to say on meditation. That could be
that can be another one. So all around, I think we summarized week 1. What do you think? Give us a summary of week 1.
Week 1, new adventures, very exciting. Getting used to a new routine, being wowed every day with all the new content, and making new friends. Like, it was very special.
It was, I'm so grateful for the experience. Like, it's like nothing you're ever going to do again.
Absolutely.
I think
unless you do your 300 hours.
Which I will do at some point, but I think the first 200 hours is, you don't know what to expect. I guess if we were to go back and do a 300 hour, we've got a bit more of an idea now. But I feel like there was enough of a stretch. Like, each day you were learning something new, and they were stretching the comfort zone, but in a way that wasn't overwhelming. It was very gentle, but also they want you to grow and evolve, and they want you to do well with this. So they do push you, but it's in a way that's kind.
I think One Yoga has really nailed it in terms of the schedule, the pace.
The teachers, One Yoga, like, I think it was perfect. So I would say week 1, be prepared to feel exhausted, right? But actually see if you can ground yourself into that, because it's part of the experience. And the teachers are very great at reading the room. So I think there was one day where we were doing a yoga class, and I remember Santosh being like, they're really tired today. And he like, they make space for that because we're humans, right? And we're going to have stuff coming to the surface and all sorts. So yeah, it was beautiful.
There was one day, I'm pretty sure, where Shavasana was 20 minutes
And
and
everyone was probably asleep.
we fell asleep. Everyone fell asleep.
Yeah, do you know how many times in Shavasana, I think just because it's so hot, and I was like, did I just snore? Yeah, but no, all in all, week 1 was amazing. And it was then setting you up for, I can't believe how much growth happened in that week 1. But then to see where we got to in week 4 was just amazing. So yeah.
An unbelievable
Can't wait to talk about week 2 next week.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time.